You've probably been told that women are complicated, that you need to master game, dress a certain way, or act mysterious to win her over. But the truth is attraction isn't a game. It's an energy. And it begins the moment you understand one simple truth in it's not about impressing her. It's about making her feel something real. You don't need to be rich. You don't need to be famous. You don't even need to look like a model. What you do need are two words. Two magic words that, when understood and embodied, can make any woman feel drawn to you. Not because you tricked her, but because you touched something real in her heart. And those two words, area, I understand. Let that sink in for a moment. I understand. Simple, right? But don't be fooled by the simplicity. These two words hold emotional power most men never tap into. Because most men don't listen to understand. They listen to respond, to fix, to prove something. But a man who can look a woman in the eye, take in her words fully, and say with calm confidence, I understand, without trying to fix her, change her, or debate her, that man becomes unforgettable. Why? Because he makes her feel seen, heard, safe. And when a woman feels safe around you, she opens up, she softens, she connects, and she can't help but be drawn to you again and again. Let me tell you a truth that will change how you see attraction forever. Women aren't waiting for perfect men. They're waiting for present men. Men who listen with presence, not pride. Men who feel with depth, not defense. Men who don't jump to correct or control, but choose to connect. And the phrase, I understand, becomes the doorway to that connection. Let's go deeper. Imagine this: she's venting about her day. She's emotional. She's overwhelmed. Most men, without even realizing it, start giving advice. You should have said this. You're overthinking. Why don't you just quit that job? But what she really needs in that moment is to feel that you're with her, that you get her, that her emotions are valid. So instead, imagine you look at her and say, I understand that must have been really hard. In that moment, you become her peace, not her fixer, not her hero, her anchor. Do you know how rare that is? Most men want to be admired, but they don't know how to make a woman feel understood. And that's why so many relationships fail, not because of big fights, but because of little disconnections that add up. Men who learn to lead with, I understand, don't just win women's attention, they win their trust. They create emotional intimacy that no fancy car, cologne, or pickup line ever could. Because here's the deeper truth: every woman is carrying a story of being misunderstood, dismissed, talked over, made to feel too emotional or too much. So when she meets a man who doesn't flinch at her depth, who doesn't rush to fix her fire, but instead holds space for it, who doesn't try to solve her, but simply sees her, she doesn't forget that man. Because he gives her something she's rarely giving: emotional safety. Let's pause for a moment. Ask yourself, when was the last time you truly listened? Not to respond, but to understand. When was the last time you let someone feel seen without needing to add your own story? When was the last time you said, I understand, and meant it? You see, this isn't about pretending. This isn't about saying those words to get something. This is about becoming the kind of man who lives those words. Because when you become understanding, not just in words, but in your energy, you start attracting differently. You attract women who are tired of surface level guys. You attract connection, not confusion, clarity, games, depth, not drama. And here's the beautiful twist: the more you practice, understand, the more powerful you become. Not because you gain control, but because you gain influence. The kind of influence that makes her trust you, open to you, feel at home with you. And that, my brother, is everything. Let's break this down even further. I understand doesn't mean you agree with everything. It doesn't mean you lose your voice. It means you choose to acknowledge someone's experience without making it about you. It's emotional intelligence in action. It's masculinity with depth. It's leadership from the heart. In a world full of loud mouths, be a deep soul. Because deep souls don't chase, they attract. And they attract with presence. Here's what most men don't realize: when a woman opens up to you emotionally, it's not a small moment. It's an invitation to meet her where she is. Not fix, not flee, but feel with her. And when you meet her there with the words, I understand, you build a bond that's deeper than attraction. You build trust. And trust is the soil where all true desire grows. So, what does this look like in real life? It means when she tells you she's anxious, you don't mock her. You don't tell her to. Just relax. You say, I understand that's been weighing on you. It means when she shares a fear, you don't minimize it, you honor it. I understand why that would scare you. It means when she's vulnerable, you don't use it against her. You hold space. I understand, and I'm here. Because here's the paradox: the more you make her feel safe emotionally, the more she desires you physically. Why? Because for a woman, safety equals surrender. And surrender isn't weakness, it's trust in action. Let me make something clear, this isn't about being passive. This isn't about being overly agreeable or soft. This is about being attuned, strong enough to listen without ego, secure enough to validate without defending, mature enough to respond without reacting. It's emotional mastery, and it's rare. But when you have it, everything changes. You become the man who doesn't just turn heads. You turn hearts. You become unforgettable. You don't need to be the loudest in the room. You just need to be the most grounded. Because women feel your energy more than your words. And when your energy says, I understand, she feels it. In your eyes, in your tone, in your patience, in your silence. And that's what pulls her in. It's not about chasing her. It's about being the kind of man who makes her want to stay. And not just stay, but trust, open up to, grow with. Because she feels emotionally safe with you. Let me tell you this, women don't fall in love with appearances. They fall in love with how you make them feel. And when you make her feel understood, you give her a home she didn't know she was looking for. So today, make a decision. Become the kind of man who leads with understanding, not just in your romantic life, but in your friendships, family, and everyday moments. Practice listening deeply. Practice seeing beyond the surface. Practice presence over performance, because the man who can say, I understand, with truth, with patience, with strength, is a man who can have any woman he wants, not through manipulation, but through magnetism. And magnetism doesn't chase, it simply draws in what aligns. So remember this, you don't need to say 1,000 things to win her, you just need to say the right thing, the real way. And sometimes, all it takes is, I understand. Say it with heart, say it with stillness, say it with presence, and watch how everything changes. Because those two words, when lived fully, are not just magic, they are mastery. And that, my brother, is what makes you unforgettable. Attraction is not about manipulation or tricks. It's about genuine emotional connection. Let that land for a second. We live in a world flooded with dating hacks, pick-up lines, and alpha male tactics. You scroll through your feed and it's all about how to get her to chase you, how to make her jealous, how to win some imaginary battle of attention. But here's the truth, and none of that builds anything real. None of that lasts. Because real attraction, the kind that draws a woman to you not just for a night, but for a lifetime, isn't based on control or strategy. It's based on connection. And connection doesn't come from being the loudest man in the room. It comes from being the most present, the most genuine, the most emotionally available, even if just in subtle ways. That's where these two magic words come in. They don't sound flashy. They're not some secret pickup line whispered in the shadows of a nightclub, but they speak directly to what a woman truly craves at her core. Something far deeper than looks or status. They speak to her need to feel safe, to feel seen, to feel significant. And when a man, fully grounded in himself, speaks those words with sincerity, she feels it. She feels it in her nervous system, in her heart, in her bones. Because for a woman, safety isn't just physical, it's emotional. She needs to know that when she opens her heart, she won't be met with mockery or dismissal. She needs to feel that her feelings aren't too much, that her fears aren't inconvenient, that her dreams aren't laughed at. She needs to feel like she matters. Not for what she looks like, not for how she performs, but simply because she exists. And those two words, when spoken with presence, with stillness, with intention, tap directly into that need. That's what makes them so powerful. They aren't magic because of how they sound, they're magic because of what they represent. They say, I see you. I value what you're feeling. You are safe to be yourself here. And in a world where so many women have been talked over, overlooked, or misunderstood, that experience is rare and therefore unforgettable. So, no, you don't need to trick her. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to speak to what she's truly longing to feel: emotional safety, emotional significance, emotional connection. When you can offer that, genuinely, you don't chase attraction, you become attraction. When a man learns to consistently embody and express these words, I understand, through his presence, his energy, and his behavior, something powerful begins to happen. He doesn't just say the right words, he becomes the right energy. And that energy, calm, grounded, emotionally intelligent, is magnetic. Not in a flashy, performative, look at me kind of way, but in a quiet, unshakable way that pulls people in without even trying. Because here's the truth, it's not about saying more. It's about saying what matters. It's not about flooding her with compliments, texting her 24/7, or trying to impress her with accomplishments. It's about communicating with depth, with intention, with truth. It's about saying the one thing that actually penetrates the noise of her world and makes her pause, breathe, and feel seen. When a man speaks less but means more, he stands out. Why? Because most men are trying so hard to be noticed, they forget how to be felt. But the man who speaks with presence, the man who pauses before he responds, the man who listens with his entire being, not just his ears, that man doesn't have to prove his worth. He embodies it. He's not performing. He's aligned. He's not seeking validation. He's already whole. And that wholeness, that calm strength, that emotional steadiness, it draws women in. Because deep down, every woman is asking one simple question: can I feel safe with you? And when you consistently express, I understand, through your tone, your patience, your willingness to hold space, and your ability to sit with emotions without rushing to fix or change them, you're answering that question without even saying a word. You're telling her, yes, you're safe here. You're seen here. You matter here. That's what turns you from just another guy in the man she remembers, the man she trusts, the man she chooses. So understand this: words alone are not enough. They must be backed by energy. Your I understand has to feel real. It has to come from a place inside you that's done the inner work. A place that isn't triggered by emotion but can hold it. A place that isn't scared of depth but welcomes it. Because when your behavior consistently reflects presence, when your energy feels safe, not scattered, when your words come from truth, not tactics, that's when the magic happens. That's when you stop chasing women and start attracting them effortlessly, naturally, powerfully. Because she's not drawn to what you say, she's drawn to what you are when you say it. These two words, I understand, are not magical because of how they sound. They're magical because of what they awaken in a woman. They activate trust. They create intimacy. They inspire admiration. Not because the words themselves are poetic or complex, but because of the energy and alignment behind them. You see, words without alignment are empty. Anyone can say the right things, but not everyone can make her feel them. And a woman doesn't fall for words, she falls for the feeling those words carry. When you say, I understand, from a place of calm strength, when you speak it with genuine confidence, not arrogance, but self assuredness, when you offer it out without agenda, without the need to be right, without trying to fix it, she feels something most men never give her: safety. Not just physical safety, but emotional safety. And emotional safety is everything. It's what allows her to let her guard down. It's what allows her to open her heart. It's what allows her to be soft, expressive, vulnerable, without fear of judgment or rejection. And here's the truth most men miss: the moment a woman feels seen, the moment she feels heard, the moment she feels valued exactly as she is, that's the moment she starts to bond. That's the moment her respect for you deepens. That's the moment her admiration begins to grow. Not because you proved yourself, but because you got her. So when you say, I understand, with full presence, it's not rushed, not robotic, but with real attentiveness. She feels it in her body, in her nervous system, in her spirit, and that's what builds trust. Trust that you're not just there for the highs, but for the emotional layers beneath the surface. Trust that you're not just chasing a moment, but holding space for something meaningful. Trust that you're not afraid of her depth, but are man enough to meet her there. Because here's the powerful true thing: a woman's heart doesn't open through pressure, it opens through presence. And I understand, when said with aligned energy, is presence in action. It says, you don't have to explain yourself 100 times. Oh, you don't need to tone yourself down. You don't have to pretend you're fine when you're not. I see you. I hear you. I'm with you. And that, right there, makes her feel not just attracted to you, but safe with you. And when a woman feels safe, seen, and deeply valued, everything changes. She leans in, she opens up, she lets herself fall, not for your looks, not for your status, but for the way you make her feel. And that is the power of two simple words when spoken with truth, groundedness, and soul.